The message arrived at 3:47 a.m. Seojin felt his phone vibrate against the nightstand, saw the name on the screen, and knew their peace was over. He slipped out of bed, careful, quiet. Imani didn't stir. On the balcony, he read it 3 times. Each time, the words got worse. "Return in 72 hours, or we come for you both." His hands shook, not from cold, from rage, from fear. He'd left everything behind, his power, his empire, his brothers, for her, and now they wanted him back. Welcome to K-Stories by Emma. Before we continue, please like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss any story. 3 weeks. That's how long they'd had. 3 weeks of pretending the world had forgotten them. 3 weeks of coffee in bed and lazy mornings, and making love like they had all the time in the world. 3 weeks of lies. Imani woke to an empty bed. The sheets on Seojin's side were cold, like he'd been gone for hours. She found him on the balcony, staring at his phone like it held a death sentence. When he heard her, he shoved it in his pocket. Too fast. "What's wrong?" she asked. "Nothing." His voice was steady, but his eyes weren't. "Couldn't sleep." Liar. She knew that look, the one that said he was calculating, planning, preparing for violence. "Seojin," she stepped closer. "What happened?" He turned away, gripped the railing. "They want me back." The words hit her like a fist. "Who?" "The organization." His jaw tightened. "My second in command sent a message. I have 72 hours to return, or they consider me a traitor." Imani's chest went tight. And traitors? Don't get to disappear quietly. She felt it then, the weight of what they'd done, what they'd thought they'd escaped. The Mafia didn't let people go, not cleanly, not without blood. Their forever had an expiration date. "What happens if you don't go back?" she whispered. Seojin finally looked at her, and she saw it. The man who'd killed for survival, the man who'd built empires on fear, the man who'd do anything to keep her alive. "Then we run," he said, "and we never stop running." Imani's throat burned. For how long? However long it takes. That's not a life. It's the only one we have. He pulled her close, wrapped his arms around her like he could shield her from what was coming. But they both knew the truth. You can't outrun the past, not when it has your name, your face, your weakness. Later that morning, Imani was making coffee when her phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. "Hello?" Silence. Then a woman's voice, young, nervous. "You don't know me, but I knew your husband." Imani froze. "Who is this?" "My name is Sophia. We need to talk." "About what?" "About Marcus. About what he did. About why you're in danger." The woman paused. "We need to meet, alone." Every instinct screamed at her to hang up, to tell Seojin, to not walk into whatever trap this was. But if Marcus had secrets, secrets that put her in danger, she needed to know. All of them, before she could truly move forward. "When?" Imani asked. "Today, 2 p.m., Riverside Cafe. Come alone. If he's with you, I'm gone." The line went dead. Imani stared at her phone, heart pounding. She should tell Seojin, should let him handle this, but she didn't. Because some truths you have to face alone, even if they destroy you. The woman waiting at Riverside Cafe was younger than Imani expected, mid-20s, beautiful in that effortless way some women are. Dark hair, designer clothes, expensive watch. She looked up when Imani approached, and smiled nervously. "Thank you for coming." Imani sat across from her, cautious, ready to leave if this felt wrong. You said you knew Marcus. I did. The woman extended her hand. My name is Sophia. I was your husband's partner. She paused. In more ways than one. The words hung between them. Imani's stomach dropped. What does that mean? Sophia pulled out her phone, slid it across the table. Photos. Marcus and Sophia, at restaurants, in hotel rooms, his arm around her waist, her lips on his cheek. Intimate, familiar, real. We worked together, Sophia said quietly, moving money for the Jade Serpents. But we were also... She couldn't finish. Imani scrolled through the photos, each one a knife. Text messages next, hundreds of them. Miss you already. Can't wait to see you tonight. She doesn't understand me like you do. Her hands shook. How long? 2 years, Sophia's voice cracked. I'm sorry, I know that doesn't help, but I am. 2 years. 2 years of lies, of him coming home late, of business trips that weren't business. 2 years of Imani believing they were solid, happy, forever. She should have felt destroyed, should have felt the grief all over again. But instead, she felt something else. Relief. The guilt she'd been carrying, the shame of falling for Seo-jin, of wanting another man while supposedly mourning her husband, lifted. Marcus betrayed her first. She didn't owe his memory anything. Why are you telling me this now? Imani asked. Sophia leaned forward, urgent, scared. Because the people Marcus worked for, they think you know where he hid their money. What money? $8 million. He stole it from the serpents, right before he died. Sophia's eyes were wide, terrified, and they're not going to stop looking until they find it, or find you. Imani's blood went cold. I don't know anything about any money. They don't believe that. To them, you're the widow, the one person Marcus Weff trusted. Sophia gripped the table. They've been watching you, waiting, and now that you're with Seo-jin, they think you're using him for protection. I don't even know where to start looking. Do you want to? Imani froze. What? Sophia met her eyes. Do you know where it is? No. But I know who does. Sophia's voice dropped. Marcus had a partner, someone he trusted more than me. If anyone knows where he hid that money, it's them. And if you find it first, you can buy your freedom, both of you. Imani stared at her, processing. $8 million, enough to disappear, to pay off whoever needed paying, to actually have the forever Seo-jin promised. Why are you helping me? Because Marcus lied to both of us, Sophia's jaw tightened, and because I'm tired of looking over my shoulder. If we find that money, we split it. You get your freedom, I get mine. Everyone wins. Imani pulled out her phone, typed quickly. We need to talk, now. She hit send before she could second-guess herself. But before she could stand, the cafe door opened. 2 men walked in. Tall, dressed in black, eyes scanning the room. They saw Sophia, and their hands went to their waists, where guns were hidden. Sophia's face went white. We need to go, now. Sophia grabbed Imani's hand. Don't run. Don't look at them. Just walk. Her voice was calm, but her grip was iron. They stood together, casual, like 2 friends finishing coffee. Sophia dropped cash on the table. Too much, but there wasn't time to wait for change. They walked toward the back, past the restrooms, through the kitchen. A cook looked up. Sophia smiled at him. Sorry, emergency. They pushed through the back door into the alley. Behind them, shouting, footsteps. The men had realized they were gone. My car, blue Honda, end of the block. Sophia was already running. Imani followed, heels clicking on pavement, heart slamming against her ribs. They reached the car. Sophia unlocked it with shaking hands. They dove inside. Engine roaring, tires screaming. Sophia drove like she'd done this before. Fast, efficient, checking mirrors constantly. 3 blocks, 5, 10. Finally, she pulled into a parking garage, took the ramps up to the 4th level, parked between two SUVs where they couldn't be seen from the entrance. Then she collapsed against the steering wheel. They found me. Imani's chest heaved. Who were they? Jade serpents. Sophia looked at her, eyes red. They've been looking for me for 3 years, ever since Marcus died. Why? Sophia laughed bitterly. Because of the $8 million he stole. Imani stared. You said that already, but I don't understand. Marcus was a financial analyst. He didn't have access to that kind of money. Yes, he did. That was his job, moving their money through clean accounts, making it legal. Sophia wiped her eyes. But 6 months before he died, he started skimming. Small amounts at first, then bigger. By the time they noticed, he'd taken $8 million. And they killed him for it? No, Sophia's voice went quiet. Se-Jin's organization killed him. Different gang, different war. The serpents wanted him alive so he could tell them where the money was. But before they could get to him, Se-Jin ordered the hit. Wrong place, wrong time. Marcus died with the location. Imani's head spun. She'd been a target all along, not because of Se-Jin, not because she fell for the wrong man, because of Marcus. Because her dead husband stole millions and left her holding the consequences. The threats, the surveillance, Min Jun showing up at her door. It all made sense now. Why didn't they just ask me? Imani's voice cracked. I didn't know anything. They don't believe that. You were his wife. In their world, wives know everything. Sophia gripped the wheel. And now that you're with Se-Jin, they think you're protected, that you're playing both sides. I'm not playing anything. I just want to live. Then we find the money. Sophia turned to face her. We find it. We split it, and we disappear. Both of us. New identities, new lives. Free. Imani thought of Se-Jin, of the message he'd received, of the 72 hours ticking down, of running forever. How do we find it? She asked. Sophia reached into her purse, pulled out something small, a key, brass, worn, old-fashioned. Marcus sent this to me the day before he died. No note, no explanation, just this. Imani took it, turned it over in her palm. What does it open? I think a safety deposit box, but I don't know where. I've tried every bank in Seattle. Nothing. Imani stared at the key. $8 million. Their freedom, their future, if they could find it before the serpents found them. She pulled out her phone, typed quickly. Meet me at home. I found something that changes everything. Se-Jin replied instantly. On my way. Are you safe? She looked at Sophia, at the key in her hand, at the men hunting them. For now. She hit send, but she wasn't sure she believed it. Se-Jin arrived 15 minutes later. He didn't knock, just used the key she'd given him and walked straight into the apartment. His face was stone. You left without telling me. His voice was low, controlled, dangerous. You met someone I don't know. Do you understand how dangerous that is? Imani stood her ground. I had to. You had to? He stepped closer. There are men hunting us. My organization wants me back, and you thought it was a good idea to meet a stranger alone? She wasn't a stranger. She was Marcus's... I don't care who she was. Se-Jin's jaw tightened. You could have been killed. But I wasn't. This time. They stared at each other, the space between them charged with anger and fear and something deeper. Finally, Imani broke the silence. Her name is Sophia. She worked with Marcus, laundering money for the Jade Serpents. She paused. And they were having an affair for 2 years. Se-Jin's expression shifted, surprise, then understanding. She told you this? She showed me, photos, messages, everything. Imani's voice steadied. Marcus wasn't who I thought he was, and that's not even the worst part. She pulled out the key, held it up. He stole $8 million from the serpents, right before he died, and they think I know where it is. Se-Jin took the key, examined it. His face went dark. This is why they wanted him dead. His voice was quiet, deadly. Not just for skimming, for stealing their entire operations emergency fund. Amani said he hid it, somewhere only he knew, but before he could retrieve it, Imani stopped herself. Before I killed him, Sajin finished the sentence. No emotion, just fact. He handed the key back, paced to the window, stared out at the city. For the first time, Imani saw him truly angry, not at her, at the situation, at Marcus. He made you a target, and he knew it. He stole millions, had an affair, and when it all fell apart, he left you to deal with the consequences. I didn't know. That's the point. Sajin turned to face her. You were innocent, and he used that. He knew if he died, you'd be the one they came for, because widows always know, wives always hide things. His hands clenched. He put a target on your back and walked away. Imani felt the weight of it, the betrayal layered on betrayal. Marcus hadn't just cheated, he'd endangered her, knowingly. If we find the money, she said carefully, could we use it to buy your way out? Sajin shook his head. It's blood money. The serpents will kill everyone I've ever loved to get it back, and my organization will kill me for helping you keep it. So we're trapped. Unless, Sajin stopped, thinking. Unless what? Unless we give it to someone neither side expects, someone who can broker peace, someone both organizations respect. Imani frowned. Who? Sajin met her eyes. Min Jun. The name hit her like cold water. You want to trust the man who almost killed me? No. Sajin crossed the room, took her hands. But I want to use him. Min Jun wants power, influence. If we give him the money, let him return it to the serpents as a gesture of goodwill, he becomes the hero, the peacemaker. And we get what? Our freedom. Both organizations owe him, and if he tells them to leave us alone, they will. Imani stared at him. That's insane. It's the only play we have. What if he just takes the money and kills us anyway? He won't. How do you know? Sajin's grip tightened. Because Min Jun respects one thing above all else. Smart moves. And this is the smartest move he'll ever see. Imani's heart pounded. And if you're wrong, then we die together. His voice softened. But at least we tried. She looked at the key in her hand. $8 million. Their last chance. Where do we start? Sajin pulled out his phone. We find out where that key fits, and then we call Min Jun. They tore through Imani's apartment. Every drawer, every closet, every box of Marcus's belongings she'd been too broken to throw away. His old suits, his books, his files from work, nothing. Imani sat on the floor, surrounded by 3 years of grief. Maybe the key doesn't mean anything. Maybe he was just being paranoid. No, Sajin kept searching, methodical, patient. Men like Marcus don't send keys for no reason. He pulled out the last box. Photos. Old ones from their wedding, their honeymoon, birthdays. Imani looked away, couldn't bear to see those faces, those lies. Sajin flipped through an album, stopped. Here, tucked between 2 photos, a bank statement, folded, yellowed with age. Pacific Trust Bank, Portland, Oregon, account number redacted, but the branch address clear. Imani stared. Portland. 4 hours away. Sajin checked his watch. We can make it before they close if we leave now. 20 minutes later, they were on the highway. The drive was tense, silent except for the hum of tires on asphalt. Imani watched the trees blur past, thought about Marcus, about the man she'd married versus the man he'd been, about secrets and lies and the weight of not knowing someone at all. You okay? Sajin asked. I don't know. He reached across the console, took her hand, and they drove the rest of the way like that, connected, silent, together. Pacific Trust Bank was small, older, the kind of place people used because it was discreet. They walked in at 3:47 p.m., 13 minutes before closing. The manager looked up, mid-50s, suspicious eyes. Can I help you? I need to access a safety deposit box, Imani said. Name? Imani Williams. The manager's expression didn't change, but something flickered. Recognition, maybe. I'll need identification and proof of ownership. Amani slid her driver's license across the counter, then the key. The manager picked it up, studied it, looked at her ID again. Wait here. He disappeared into the back. Amani's heart hammered. What if it's not here? It's here. Sajan's voice was calm, but his hand found hers again, squeezed. Whatever's in that box, we face it together. And Amani realized something. This is what partnership looks like. Not romance, not passion, not the dramatic declarations people make in movies. Just two people choosing each other in the mess, in the fear, in the unknown. The manager returned, his face unreadable. Follow me. They walked through a heavy door, down a hallway, into the vault. Rows of boxes, small, silver, locked. The manager stopped at number 247. This box was opened 3 years ago and hasn't been accessed since. He looked at Amani. I'll give you privacy. He left. The vault door closed behind him. Amani stared at the box, hands shaking. You want me to do it? Sajan asked. No, she stepped forward. I need to. The key slid in, smooth, perfect fit. She turned it. Click. The box opened. Inside, USB drives, 3 of them, ledgers with handwritten notes, documents printed on thin paper, bank transfers, account numbers, names she didn't recognize. Every transaction Marcus made, every crime, every lie. And on top, a handwritten note. Amani's vision blurred as she read it. Amani, if you're reading this, I'm sorry, for everything. Use this to survive. M. Her hands trembled. She set the note aside. Underneath, 8 stacks of $100 bills, shrink-wrapped, perfect, untraceable. $1 million per stack. 8 million total. Amani couldn't breathe. Sajan's jaw tightened. Now we have leverage. And a choice, Amani whispered. They stared at the money, at their future, their freedom, their survival. All of it sitting in a box that had been waiting 3 years for this moment. They met Min Jun at Arcadia, an upscale restaurant in downtown Seattle, the kind with private rooms and staff who knew not to ask questions. He was already there when they arrived, sitting at the head of the table, smiling. You found it, his eyes gleamed. I'm impressed. Sajan sat across from him, Imani beside him. On the table between them, a black duffel bag, heavy, packed with 8 million reasons to listen. Let's talk, Sajan said. Minjun gestured to the bag. May I? Sajan nodded. Minjun unzipped it, looked inside. His smile widened. The jade serpents have been looking for this for 3 years. He zipped it closed. And you're just going to give it to me? Not to you, Sajan said. Through you. To them. Minjun leaned back, interested. In exchange for what? A truce. I walk away from the organization, clean, no retaliation, and Imani is marked as untouchable, forever. That's a tall order. That's the deal. Minjun studied them, his gaze sharp, calculating. You're willing to give up $8 million for her. Sajan didn't hesitate. Yes. Minjun laughed, not cruel, almost admiring. You've gone soft, my friend. No. Sajan's voice was steel. I found something worth protecting. Minjun's smile faded. He looked at Imani, really looked at her. You must be something special to make a man like him choose this. Imani met his eyes. I didn't ask him to choose. He did it on his own. Even better. Minjun poured himself tea, slow, deliberate. The problem is this. The serpents won't just want their money back. They'll want blood. Imani's stomach dropped. What does that mean? It means money isn't enough. Minjun's tone was matter-of-fact. They've been hunting this for years. People died. Reputations were damaged. They'll need proof you're serious. A gesture. What kind of gesture? Sajan asked. Minjun reached into his jacket, pulled out a folder, slid it across the table. Sajan opened it. Photos, surveillance, documents. Sophia. Getting into cars with men Imani didn't recognize, meeting in parking garages, talking on burner phones. She was working both sides, Minjun said, feeding information to the serpents about your organization, names, locations, shipment routes. She's the reason they knew so much about your operations. Imani's stomach dropped. That's not possible. She helped me. Because she needed you to find it first. Minjun's voice was cold. She needed you to find it first. Then she'd take her cut and disappear, leaving you to deal with the consequences. Imani wanted to argue, to defend her, but the evidence was right there. Photos, dates, proof. Sejin's face was unreadable. We'll think about it. Don't think too long. Minjun stood, straightened his jacket. You have 48 hours. After that, the offer expires, and you're both on your own. He walked to the door, paused. For what it's worth, I hope you choose wisely. Then he was gone. Imani stared at the folder, at Sophia's face in those photos. Did she really betray us? Sejin's silence was answer enough. Imani didn't sleep. She lay in bed staring at the ceiling. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Sophia's face. Young, scared, trusting her. At 3 a.m., she gave up trying. Sejin was on the couch, awake, staring at nothing. We can't give her to them, Imani said. He didn't look at her. I know. They'll kill her. I know. So we find another way. Sejin finally turned. His eyes were tired, haunted. There is no other way. There has to be. Imani, his voice was sharp, final. Sophia made her choices. She played both sides. She put you in danger, and now she has to face the consequences. So we just hand her over like she's nothing? She's not nothing. She's a liability. Sejin stood, paced. And in this world, liabilities get people killed. We're not murderers, aren't we? He stopped, looked at her. I've killed, you know that. You chose to love me anyway, so don't pretend we're innocent. The words hit like a slap. Imani's chest tightened. That's different. How? Because you didn't have a choice. We always have a choice. Sejin's jaw tightened. And right now, the choice is her or us. For the first time, Imani saw it. The line between them. The place where her morality and his world didn't align. Where love and survival pulled in opposite directions. I can't do this, she whispered. You don't have to. I'll handle it. That's not an answer. It's the only answer I have. They stood in silence, the distance between them suddenly immense. Imani made a decision. She grabbed her phone, walked into the bedroom, closed the door, dialed the number Sophia had given her. It rang twice. Hello? Sophia's voice, groggy, worried. It's Imani. We need to meet, now. What's wrong? I'll explain when I see you. Parking garage on 5th and Pine, 20 minutes. Imani, just be there. She hung up. When she came out, Sejin was standing by the door, blocking it. What did you do? What I had to. Imani, move. His eyes searched hers. You're making a mistake. Maybe, but it's my mistake to make. For a moment, she thought he'd stop her, physically, keep her from leaving, but he stepped aside. If this goes wrong, it won't. If it does, they'll come for both of you. Then come with me. She grabbed her jacket. Help me save her. Sejin's face was stone. I can't. Can't or won't? He didn't answer. Imani left without looking back. The parking garage was empty, cold, echoing. Imani stood in the center, waiting. Headlights swept across the concrete. A car pulled in, parked. Sophia got out, walked toward her slowly. She looked at Imani's face and knew. They want me, don't they? Imani nodded, her throat tight. Min Jun has proof you were working both sides, feeding information to the serpents. She paused. Is it true? Sophia's eyes filled with tears. Yes. Why? Because I was scared. Because Marcus died and I thought they'd come for me next, so I made a deal. Information for protection. Her voice broke. I didn't know it would put you in danger, I swear. It doesn't matter now, Imani stepped closer. They want you, dead, as proof we're serious about peace. Sophia's face went pale. Are you here to... No, Imani's voice was steel. I'm not giving you to them. I'm getting you out. They sat in Sophia's car, engine off, planning. Vancouver, Imani said. I have cash, enough to get you across the border. And Sophia, I know someone there, a woman who helps people disappear. New identity, new life. Sophia wiped her eyes. You'd do that for me? After what I did? You warned me about the money. You could have just taken it and run. Imani met her gaze. That counts for something. Sophia nodded, shaking. When do we leave? Tonight. We drive north. Cross at... Headlights cut through the darkness. A car pulled into the garage, parked 20 feet away. Sajan got out. Imani's stomach dropped. He walked toward them, slow, deliberate, his face unreadable. You followed me, Imani said. I couldn't let you do this alone. I'm not alone. I have... You can't save her. Sajan's voice was flat, final. If she disappears, they'll know we helped, and the deal dies. Then they come for all of us. Sophia opened the car door, stepped out. He's right. Her voice was steady now, resigned. If I run, you pay the price. Sophia! I'll turn myself in. She looked at Sajan. Tell Minjun I'm ready. Just make it quick. No, Imani grabbed her arm. We're not doing this. You gave me a chance. You could have traded me the second you found out, but you didn't. Imani's eyes filled again. That's more than anyone else has ever done for me. Imani felt her chest crack. There has to be another way. Sajan stepped forward. There is. Both women looked at him. We fake her death, he said quietly. Make them think she's gone, but she has to disappear completely, forever. No contact, no coming back. She becomes a ghost. Sophia stared. How? Car accident. Body burned beyond recognition. We plant your ID, your phone, make it convincing. Sajan's eyes were cold, calculating. The serpents get their blood. You get your life, but you can never be Sophia again. And if they figure it out, they won't. Not if we do this right. Imani's heart pounded. This is insane. It's the only option that doesn't end with someone dead. Sajan looked at Sophia. But you have to decide now, and you have to commit. No second thoughts, no mistakes. Sophia took a breath, looked at Imani, then at Sajan. Okay, let's do it. The next 12 hours were a nightmare. They found a body, a Jane Doe from the morgue. Sajan had contacts, people who didn't ask questions. They staged the accident on a mountain road outside the city. Sophia's car, going too fast, missing a turn. The explosion was real, controlled, but real. By the time the fire department arrived, there was nothing left but ash and metal. And a body, burned, unrecognizable. Sophia's ID in the glove compartment, her phone in the wreckage. It was brutal, efficient, and it worked. Sophia disappeared that night. New name, new face. Headed east instead of north. Imani never asked where. 2 days later, Minjun called. The serpents are satisfied. They've seen the reports, the body, the evidence. His voice was smooth, pleased. The deal stands. You're free, both of you. And your organization? Sajan asked. They've accepted your departure. You're no longer bound. Minjun paused. But stay out of Seattle, at least for a while. Let things settle. Understood. One more thing. Minjun's tone shifted. You played this well, both of you. That takes nerve. The line went dead. Imani stood in the apartment, staring at nothing. They were free. The serpents believed Sophia was dead. Sajan's organization had let him go. They had the money, the future, everything they wanted. But all Imani felt was the weight of what they'd done. The lies, the manipulation. The girl who had to die, even if just on paper, for them to live. Are you okay? Sajan asked. Imani looked at him. I don't know. The ceremony was held in a warehouse south of the city. Old school, traditional, the kind of ritual that dated back decades. Imani wasn't allowed inside. She waited in the car, watching men in dark suits enter and exit. When Seojin finally emerged 2 hours later, his face was blank. It's done, he said. What happened? I knelt, renounced my oath, returned my ring. His voice was hollow. I'm no longer bound to them. That's good, right? He didn't answer, just started the car and drove. But Imani had seen the looks on the other men's faces as they left. Cold, angry, unforgiving. This wasn't over. They moved into a new apartment the next day. Small, on the outskirts of the city, anonymous. No doorman, no security cameras, just a quiet building where nobody asked questions. For the first time, they tried to live like normal people. Coffee in the morning, grocery shopping on Saturdays, movie nights on the couch. It should have felt like freedom, but Seojin checked the locks 3 times every night, kept his gun within reach, always. Slept light, woke at every sound. Imani watched him unravel slowly, quietly. Freedom didn't erase the past. It just gave him space to feel the weight of what he'd left behind. The men he'd led, the blood he'd spilled, the life he'd built on violence. One night she found him on the balcony, standing in the dark, staring at nothing. Do you regret it? She asked quietly. Leaving? He didn't turn. Never. Then what's wrong? I wonder if I've condemned us both. His voice was rough. I walked away, but they don't forget, and they don't forgive. Min Jun said, Min Jun brokered a deal. That doesn't mean everyone accepted it. Seojin finally looked at her. There are men in that organization who see me as a traitor, and traitors don't get happy endings. Imani's chest tightened. So what do we do? We stay careful, stay ready. He pulled her close. And we hope they decide we're not worth the effort. But his tone said he didn't believe that. 3 days later, a package arrived. Plain brown box, no return address, left outside their door. Imani brought it inside, set it on the counter. Should we open it? She asked. Seojin examined it, carefully, looking for wires, anything suspicious. Finally, he nodded. He cut the tape, lifted the flaps. Inside, a single bullet, brass, gleaming, and underneath, a note. Handwritten, simple. We don't forget. Imani's blood went cold. Seojin's face drained of color, his hands clenched into fists. They know where we are. Who? Does it matter? He grabbed his phone, started typing. Pack a bag, now, we're leaving. Seojin. Now, Imani. His tone left no room for argument. She moved fast, threw clothes into a duffel, grabbed essentials, her hands shaking. Seojin was already at the door, gun drawn, checking the hallway. Clear, let's go. They took the stairs, not the elevator, down 6 flights, out the back exit, into the alley where their car waited. Seojin drove fast, no destination, just away. Imai stared at the bullet in her hand, the one she'd grabbed before they left. A message, a threat, a promise. Where are we going? She whispered. Somewhere they can't find us. And if they do? Seojin's jaw tightened. Then we fight. But Imani heard what he didn't say. They were running again, and this time there might be nowhere left to hide. They drove through the night, north, into the mountains, away from the city and the men who wanted them dead. The cabin was small, remote, buried in snow and silence. No phones, no internet, no connection to the world they'd left behind. Just them. For 3 weeks, they lived like ghosts. Sejin chopped wood every morning, Imani cooked simple meals. They read books by the fire, made love under heavy blankets while snow fell outside. It was peaceful, almost perfect. But the fear never left. Imani saw it in the way Sejin watched the tree line, the way he kept his gun on the nightstand, the way he slept with one eye open. They were safe, but they weren't free. One night she couldn't take it anymore. I'm tired of running, she said. Sejin looked up from the fire. I know. I mean it. I'm tired of looking over my shoulder, tired of living like we're already dead. Her voice cracked. I want a life. A real one, not this. He crossed the room, pulled her close. I'm trying to give you that. Are you? She pulled back, met his eyes. Because this isn't living, this is hiding. Sejin's jaw tightened. What do you want me to do? End this. Imani's voice was steel. For real. No more threats, no more running. We go back and we finish it. Imani, there's only one way we get our lives back, and you know it. He stared at her, something shifting in his expression. There's only one way to do that, he said quietly. How? We go back and we finish it. Imani's heart pounded. What does that mean? Sejin walked to the back of the cabin, pulled up a loose floorboard, removed a metal box. He set it on the table, opened it. Inside, USB drives, documents, photos, recordings. I've been collecting evidence, he said, for years. Every crime, every deal, every murder the organization committed. He looked at her. Enough to bring them all down. Imani stared. Why didn't you use it before? Because if I do, I'm a dead man, he said, flat. The moment this goes public, every member of that organization, current and former, will hunt me. They'll never stop. Not until I'm gone. So we've been running for nothing? No, I was buying time, trying to find another way. Sejin's hands clenched. But there is no other way. If we want to be free, truly free, we have to destroy them completely. Imani's mind raced. And if we do this, what happens to us? We become targets, forever. But at least we're not hiding anymore. At least we're fighting back. She looked at the evidence, at years of violence and corruption condensed into files and recordings. This was their weapon, their only weapon. If we do this, she said slowly, we do it smart. We don't just release everything and hope for the best. We make a plan. We protect ourselves. Agreed. And we don't die. Her voice was firm. We survive this. Both of us. Together. Sejin cupped her face, his eyes dark, intense. Then we do it together. He kissed her, slow, deep, to burn it all down. And we survive. Imani nodded. They'd been running long enough. It was time to fight back, even if it killed them. They returned to Seattle 3 days later, not hiding, not running, walking straight into the fire. Seojin made the call from a burner phone, short, direct. I need a meeting with the council, tonight. There was silence on the other end. Then, you have nerve coming back here. I have something you want, and you have something I need. Seojin's voice was steel. Tonight, or I go to the feds. Another pause. Midnight, the old warehouse. Come alone. I'm bringing her. Then you're both dead. We'll see. He hung up. Imani watched him. Are you sure about this? No. He loaded his gun, checked the clip. But it's the only move we have left. They arrived at 11:58 p.m. The warehouse was the same one where this all began, where Min Jun had spared them once before. Inside, the council waited. 7 men, old guard, the ones who'd built the organization from blood and fear. At the head of the table sat Choi, 70 years old, sharp eyes, hands that had killed more people than Imani could imagine. You brought her, Choi said. Not a question, a statement of disappointment. I did, Seojin said, the metal blocks on the table, because what I'm about to offer affects both of us. You have no leverage here, boy. Don't I? Seojin opened the box, pulled out a USB drive. This contains every crime this organization has committed in the last 10 years. Names, dates, locations, bank accounts, everything. The room went silent. You're bluffing. Seojin pulled out his phone, pulled up a file, turned the screen toward them. A recording, audio and video, clear as day. Choi's voice, planning a hit, ordering an execution. The old man's face went pale. I have hundreds of these, and they're set to release automatically if I don't check in every 12 hours. So here's my offer. Let us go, clean, no retaliation, no hunting us down, and this stays buried. And if we refuse, another council member asked, then every federal agency in the country gets a copy. The FBI, DEA, ATF, all of it. Seojin's eyes were cold. You'll spend the rest of your lives in prison if you're lucky. The council erupted, shouting, threats, rage. But Seojin didn't flinch. For the first time, Imani saw him not as a man torn between worlds, but as a man who'd chosen his side. Her side. Choi stood slowly, his face twisted with fury. Would you betray your brothers? You're not my brothers, Seojin said. Not anymore. Choi's hand moved, fast for an old man. A gun appeared, aimed directly at Imani. Then she dies, and you live with that choice forever. Imani's breath stopped. Seojin moved to step in front of her, but before anyone could fire, another voice cut through the room. Lower the weapon. Min-jun. He stepped out of the shadows, calm, composed, hands in his pockets. This man has earned his freedom. Choi's gun didn't waver. Stay out of this. I can't. Min-jun walked forward, stood between the gun and Imani. Because I brokered the deal that brought him back, and I vouch for him. You vouch for a traitor? I vouch for a man who knows what he wants, who's willing to burn everything to protect it. Min-jun's smile was cold. That's not betrayal, that's clarity. The room went silent. Choi stared at Min-jun, then at Seojin, then at Imani. Finally, he lowered the gun. You have 48 hours to leave Seattle. After that, if I ever see your face again, deal or no deal, you're dead. Seojin nodded, understood. They turned to leave, but Seojin stopped, looked at Min-jun. Why are you helping us? Min-jun smiled, because I respect men who know what they want, and you, my friend, have chosen well. He glanced at Imani. Take care of him, he's one of the few good ones left. Then he walked back into the shadows, and they were free. The council's decision was final. They were free, but Seattle was closed to them, forever. 48 hours to leave, no extensions, no negotiations. They spent the first day packing. Not much to take, a few clothes, some books, the photo of Marcus that Imani still couldn't throw away, not because she mourned him anymore, but because he was part of her story. The rest they left behind. The second day, they said goodbye. To the apartment where they'd hidden, to the coffee shop where they'd fallen in love, to the streets they'd walked together, to the city that had given them each other and nearly destroyed them in the process. It was bittersweet, but necessary. On their last night, they stood on the pier, the same one where Seojin had first told her the truth about Marcus, where everything had started to unravel and rebuild at the same time. The water was black, endless. The city lights reflected across the surface like fallen stars. I'm sorry, Seojin said quietly. Imani looked at him. For what? For all the pain, for everything you lost. His voice was rough. Your husband, your life, your peace. Imani took his hand, laced her fingers through his. I didn't lose everything, she met his eyes. I found you. His throat worked, like he was trying not to break. I don't deserve you. Maybe not, she smiled, soft, real. But you have me anyway. He pulled her close, pressed his forehead to hers. Where do we go? She whispered. Seojin smiled, the first real smile she'd seen in weeks. Anywhere. Everywhere. As long as it's with you. They stood like that for a long time, holding each other, breathing each other in. Two people who'd survived hell to find something worth living for. The next morning, as they were loading the car, Imani's phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. Hello? Silence. Then a familiar voice. It's me. Sophia. Imani's breath caught. Are you? I'm safe. I'm in Toronto. New name, new life. Sophia's voice was lighter, hopeful. I wanted to say thank you for giving me a second chance. Imani's eyes filled. We all deserved one. Yeah, Sophia paused. Are you okay? I think so. We're leaving Seattle, starting over. Good. You deserve that. Another pause. Take care of him, and let him take care of you. I will. Goodbye, Amani. Goodbye, Sophia. The line went dead. Amani stood there for a moment, phone in hand, tears on her cheeks. Sojin came up behind her. Who was that? A ghost. A good one. He kissed her temple. Ready? Yeah, I'm ready. They drove to the airport, checked in for a flight. Destination still undecided. They'd choose when they got to the gate. As they walked through security, Amani felt it. The weight lifting, the fear fading. For the first time in years, maybe ever, she wasn't running from something. She was running toward something. A future, a life, a love that had cost them everything, but given them more. They boarded the plane hand in hand, found their seats, settled in. As the plane took off, Amani looked out the window, watched Seattle disappear below them. The city where she'd lost Marcus, where she'd found Sojin, where she'd learned that love wasn't safe or simple or easy, but it was worth it. She turned to Sojin. He was watching her, that soft look in his eyes, the one that said she was his entire world. Where do we go? She asked. He smiled. Does it matter? No. She leaned her head on his shoulder. It doesn't. Because home wasn't a place anymore. It was him. And that was enough. 6 months later, Imani woke to sunlight streaming through white curtains, the sound of waves rolling against the shore, seagulls calling, the smell of salt air and coffee. She stretched, smiled, rolled over. Seojin's side of the bed was empty, but she could hear him in the kitchen, humming softly, making coffee the way he always did. She got up, pulled on one of his shirts, walked barefoot across the cool tile floor. Their apartment was small, a studio overlooking the ocean in a tiny coastal town in Portugal. No one knew them here. No one asked questions. They were just another couple, starting over, building something new. Seojin looked up when she entered, smiled that soft smile reserved only for her. Good morning. Morning, she kissed him, tasted coffee on his lips. You're up early. Couldn't sleep. He poured her a cup. I have a class at the gym in an hour. He taught self-defense now, at a local gym run by an old Portuguese man who didn't care about his past. Imani worked at a bookstore 3 blocks away, small, quiet, filled with stories in languages she was slowly learning. It was ordinary, and it was perfect. They had dinners with neighbors, an elderly couple who brought them wine and taught them Portuguese phrases. They went to the market on Saturdays, bought fresh fish and vegetables, cooked together in their tiny kitchen. They walked on the beach every evening, held hands, watched the sunset. It was the life they'd fought for, bled for, nearly died for. And it was theirs. That evening, Seojin found her on the beach. She was sitting in the sand, watching the waves, lost in thought. He sat beside her, close enough their shoulders touched. Do you miss it? He asked quietly. Miss what? Seattle? Your old life? Imani considered. I miss who I thought I was, the version of me that believed everything was simple, safe. She paused. But I don't miss the pain. Do you regret it? Any of it? She looked at him, really looked at him. This man who'd killed her husband, who'd made her fall in love with him, who'd destroyed her world and rebuilt it into something better. No, she said, I don't. He smiled, relieved, like he'd been holding his breath waiting for her answer. Are you happy? He asked. She turned the question back. Are you? Seojin cupped her face. His thumb brushed her cheekbone. His eyes, those dark, intense eyes that had seen so much violence, were soft now, peaceful. Every single day. Imani's chest tightened, in the best way. I have something to tell you, she said. His expression shifted, concerned. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. She took his hand, placed it on her stomach. I'm pregnant. Seojin froze, completely still, like his brain had stopped processing. Then he laughed. A real laugh, full and unguarded and filled with something Imani had never heard from him before. Joy. He pulled her into his arms, held her so tight she could barely breathe. We're going to be okay, he whispered against her hair, his voice cracking. All of us. Tears slipped down Imani's cheeks, happy ones this time. You're not scared? Terrified. He pulled back, looked at her, eyes wet. But I've never been more sure of anything. They sat there as the sun dipped toward the horizon. The sky turned gold, then pink, then deep purple. The waves rolled in, constant, eternal. Imani leaned against Seojin, his arm around her shoulders, her hand on her stomach where their future was growing. The past was behind them. Marcus, the mafia, the violence, the running. All of it was just memory now. The future was uncertain. Parenthood, a child growing up with parents who'd survived hell. But it was theirs. Forever? Imani asked, the same question she'd asked before. Seojin turned her face toward his, kissed her. Slow, deep, certain. Forever. And for the first time in either of their lives, forever felt real. Not a promise made in desperation, but a choice made in peace. They stayed on the beach until the stars came out. Two people who'd found each other in darkness and built a life in the light. Together. Always. Thank you for joining K Stories by Emma for this incredible journey. If you loved this story, please like, share, and subscribe. Your support means everything. Until next time, believe in love, fight for what matters, and never give up on redemption. This is Emma, signing off.